Hey everybody, welcome back to Jay's Fifth Down, a football podcast. I'm your host, Jay Gay, once again here on a wonderful football podcast. Today we're going to be talking about NFL Top 100 list, what players made the top 5. That's what I specifically wanted to get into, and who should have been where, and all that type of stuff. You know how we do here. Also going to recap the NFL preseason. 3 weeks of good preseason football. I think this is the best preseason football we've had in a number of years, and that's saying something because not everybody pays attention to preseason football like that. But this year was very interesting. The rookies really impressed me, and a lot of people. So I will get into that here on the podcast, as well as what coaches are on the hot seat this year, and just overall the 2022 final season preview for this upcoming season, and what to expect from a few teams specifically, and what not to expect, and we'll get into college football as well. So very busy podcast today. We got a lot for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you check us out here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Also on YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, comment, share, like. We're here for all your daily football news, hot takes, whatever you need to know from the NFL, college, and high school. Like I said, NFL Top 100 list came out. The final, it's been coming out over the last couple weekends. The final top 20 came out the other day, yesterday. And number one making the list was of course, 7-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, NFL all-time passing leader, Tom Brady. He finished number one on the list. Behind him was Aaron Donald with the Rams, Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Kupp, and Jonathan Taylor. So those are your top 5 right there in the NFL Top 100 list. Interestingly enough, Josh Allen was 13th. So we'll get into that in a second. But I'm talking about the quarterback for the Bills, Josh Allen. I don't really pay attention to these lists and everything. To me, it's just a popularity contest. Just like the Pro Bowl and the Pro Bowl voting, all that type of stuff. Because, as true football enthusiasts know, a lot of players get snubbed from the Pro Bowl every year. And it's really annoying, guys that just have great seasons. They work their butts off. They just get after it, and they just have amazing years, and then they don't make the Pro Bowl, which is not everything to a player, but that's a big deal in a player's career. That and the Hall of Fame, and of course winning a Super Bowl, those 3 main things on the top of the players list, right? So, for example, AJ Terrell, one player, I think he got snubbed, and from an unbiased standpoint, he definitely got snubbed from making the Pro Bowl. I mean, this is a guy who was at the top in the league as far as coverage statistics go. Pro Football Focus rated him as like one of the top cornerbacks in the league behind Jalen Ramsey from Los Angeles Rams, Super Bowl champ. So when you're up there with that dude, that's high praise, and that's that definitely deserves, I think, a Pro Bowl nod. But the coaches and certain players and media did not agree with that. So they did not vote him into the Pro Bowl. But that's just an example of how these popularity contests work in the NFL, and the NFL Top 100 list is basically another one of those. Except mainly the players vote on this list and who they believe those should go where. And a lot of guys didn't make the top 10, top 15 that you probably think would have. So we'll get to that here in a second. And going down the list, Tom Brady, of course, number one. I mean, there's not much you can argue with it. I mean, and Tom Brady recently just said in an interview, when they asked about why he's been gone from the Bucs for such a while, over his absence over the last couple of weeks, and he's like, man, I'm 45 years old. I got a lot of bleep going on right now, to put it into terms, what we can say on air. So, Tom Brady's got a lot of stuff going on right now, and that's what he said. And it's like, yeah, I got a lot of bleep going on right now, and I'm 45 years old. So, he left it at that. And Tom Brady has deserved the right to, not tell everybody his business. I mean, the dude's a 7-time champ. He, it is what it is, whether you like him, hate him, or what. The dude's a champ, and he is who he is. He is the all-time great. He's the greatest to ever play the game. So I mean, he can do whatever he wants, and if he wants to take off, the only thing, like I said, and I talked about this in my podcast with Rusty before the previous episode. If you guys watched that, we were talking about how this Brady's absence affect the team a little bit? Are they going to be pestering him with questions, or I mean, is he, why are you going for so long? Does that time not spent with your receivers, will that have, a little bit of an impact on the team, which I don't think it will, so, but just questions you ask as a media member and, a sports enthusiast, in the NFL, you just wonder if him being gone for that little period of time just takes a little bit of toll when they, start to get to regular season and play their games. The chemistry involved. Chemistry is a huge thing, as I mentioned various times on this podcast. If you don't have chemistry on your team, you won't win football games. You have to have chemistry on your team. Everybody's got to be bought in to what they're doing. The coaches have to be bought into what they're coaching, and they've got to make get the players to trust in the system, trust in them, and what they're trying to, what plans they're trying to execute on Sundays or Thursdays or Mondays, whatever the case may be. On game day, they have got to make sure the players are bought in and trust the game plan to execute it on when it's time to go play. And it's a hard thing. Being a football coach is hard. Especially at the NFL level, and being a quarterback is hard. You're in big league. Those two are the two head leaders of the team, and it's a lot of pressure on you because when the team starts to fail, all the eyes are going to go towards you, whether it's the head coach or the quarterback. So all that pressure is going to fall onto you, and that being in that leadership role. And Tom is, the Bucs had, prior to Tom Brady coming, had no kind of direction or sense of leadership at all within the franchise, with no lead. Especially at the quarterback position. But once they got Tom in there, that changed, and the culture. They became more enthusiastic. They became more fired up and and physical and violent. And the Tampa Bay just changed as a team. More dynamic, fast-paced offense, and the defense was ferocious. They got after you, right? Now Todd Bowles is the head coach, and he's going to bring that tough mentality. He's going to instill, keep that on the defense and bring it to the offensive side as well. So that's going to be interesting to watch for the Buccaneers this year. Aaron Donald at number 2, just made the game-winning play in the Super Bowl pretty much. Getting back there and destroying the Bengals offensive line and getting back to Joe Burrow and bringing him down to the ground. That was huge by him. So, and it got him there at the top spot, the second spot on the NFL Top 100 list. Aaron Rodgers, the 2-time MVP, back-to-back MVP, on that list as well. Cooper Kupp at number 4. Like I said, this list is fairly, the whole list is fairly arguable for a good part, but again, it's a popularity contest. So it's just pick with your own judgment, right, on this. But moving on, preseason football is over. Just wrapped up the last week yesterday. A lot of games happened. Packers and Chiefs they played. Chiefs won that game. The Texans and 49ers played. They're looking good. Texans running back Dameon Pierce is somebody I'm really impressed with. I'm looking forward to watching this year. Rookie out of Florida. Very tough runner. He runs through contact. He's physical. He's elusive. And, coming out the backfield, can catch as well. So that's the guy I'm looking forward to. Overall, like I said earlier, this preseason has been a little bit different from the past because these rookies have brought a little bit more of a dynamic fire to the game, and it's been interesting to watch them. Now you actually want to sit down and watch the Jets and the Giants preseason game, or the Lions and the Falcons preseason game, because it's interesting now, and you've got these players coming up that they're just very entertaining to watch, whether it's Sauce Gardner with the Jets, or like I said, Dameon Pierce with the Texans, or whoever it might be, Desmond Ridder with the Falcons. So these are some really good rookies in this class, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're all doing this year. And a few guys that stood out to me, again, Dameon Pierce being one of them from the running back position. Malik Willis with the Titans. I definitely believe if Ryan Tannehill gets off to an ugly start in Tennessee, Malik Willis could see the field very soon, very quickly there, because he had a great preseason. He showed his elusiveness that he had at Liberty, that he was showing off there at Liberty, and his strong arm, and the running. I mean, this guy's going to be very good in this league, and I believe that he's going to get his playing time sooner rather than later, and moving off of that note, still in the quarterback room, Kenny Pickett has looked great as well, over there in Pittsburgh. He's actually won the game for them. I think it was the second week of preseason, won that game for them, going down towards end, found, I believe it was, I can't remember the receiver's name, but he found that guy. And he took it home, great show, great poise in the pocket back there. That's what you want to see from your rookie quarterback. Just being able to take command of the offense and do the 2-minute drill, get down the field, score points, win the football game. That's what you want to see out of your rookie quarterback. And that's what Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting out of Kenny Pickett. And they see that, and they see how good of a player he is and why did they picked him that early in the draft. So, but other than that, some other guys that really caught my attention. Desmond Ridder, for one, for the Falcons. He showed great poise as well at the quarterback spot. Got that winning mentality. He's going to get down the field. He wants to score points. And what I love about him is the short memory. Quarterbacks and defensive backs share this in common. You have to have a short memory in the NFL, with football in general, but in the NFL especially. You throw a pick or you give up a touchdown in the corner or in the defensive back's case, then next play, forget it. Short memory, right? And it's just coming back that next series, that next drive, that next play. Hey, this is going to be a better play. Forget old plays out the way. We're going to make this is a new play, new rep. You got to make every rep count. And that's the mentality that Desmond Ridder has, and that's really good because at that age, you want to have that type of quarterback in your locker room that is going to, get the offense ready to go. And, no matter what happened the previous play or the previous drive, we're going to go down the field. We're going to go score points. That's the mind. Even if you don't, that's the mentality he has. And that's what I believe all quarterbacks should have, that mentality. Got that kind of Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers type attitude, like, hey, let's get down the field and get points. No matter what happened previous play, we're gonna speed up tempo offense, catch your defense off guard, catch you with 12 men on the field. We're gonna go score, and we're gonna get after it. And that's the type of guy you need back there, commanding the offense. So that's really impressed me with him. But overall, great preseason this year. A lot of guys stepped up, and a lot of guys, proved that they belong on these 53-man rosters. And tomorrow will be at 4:00 is the deadline for cutting down the roster from 80 players to 53 players. So we'll get to see who makes it, who doesn't make it. Some guys are going to end up on the practice squad. Some are going to end up on the waiver wire. Some are going to go to other teams. Some are, of course, going to get cut. So that's just how it's going to be. And you guys can, of course, just check, the NFL.com, for updates on that. And, of course, I'm sure Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter will be updating as well with those roster moves tomorrow. And as we look forward to the 2022 NFL season, a lot of coaches on the hot seat this year. A lot of franchises are looking to turn around, and if they don't get it turned around, it could be very dangerous for them, and they could lose their jobs. So moving in that limelight could be number one for me is Cliff Kingsbury with the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals had a great start off the last year, won 7 games in a row, and then they completely just derailed after that. Bad play. Offensive line didn't do so well holding up. Kyler Murray didn't look too good down the stretch, and it's not a knock on these guys, but it's just the truth. And it just wasn't good for the Cardinals at all. Questionable play calling on the offense and defensive side of the ball. Cliff Kingsbury was brought in to make this franchise, kind of have that Sean McVay type of switch, like he brought with the Rams when he came in. It's the first year they went to the playoffs that he came, and he was the head coach, a very young one at that, a very young head coach at that, and he brought the Rams, got that offense cooking with Todd Gurley and Jared Goff and all those guys, with that system, and they went up and went to the playoffs. The very following year, the Super Bowl, So I would think what the Cardinals were trying to get out of, Cliff Kingsbury was that same type of result. Come in, a guy with that offensive type of mind. He was head coach at Texas Tech, coach Patrick Mahomes when he was a quarterback there. So that guy with that type of system and the air raid style offense, they wanted to bring him in and can coach up this team and, get that firepower offense, and it didn't work. It hasn't worked to the point to where they wanted. Kyler Murray, he's a great quarterback, one of the best young quarterbacks in this league. However, if Cliff Kingsbury cannot get control with this team and have a consistent season next year on all sides of the ball, special teams, offense, defense, he might get let go by the Cardinals very soon. I expect it. They're running out of time, and the window is closing. Kyler Murray just signed that big extension, yes, but if things don't work out this year, then you might see the Cardinals wanting to blow the roster up. Maybe trade Kyler Murray to a quarterback needy team, get some draft picks, and build up again. Fire Cliff Kingsbury, go down the whole route all over again. But they don't want to do that. They want to have Cliff, change culture, and get some win some ball games, and get this team on a winning stance, and have a consistent year the whole season. That's what they want, and they haven't got it in his 3 years of coaching there. So he's a guy to watch out for in the hot seat for coaches. Mike McCarthy is on there as well for me. Mike McCarthy won Super Bowl with the Packers when he was the head coach there, and then over the years the team just didn't. They couldn't get the job done. Over the next couple of years, and then he ended up getting hired by the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, the Cowboys are going to be the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? And they just Mike McCarthy's first, when they asked him when training camp started, or what about his job security, he's like, I want to. It's like, we're not talking about that. This is football. I'm focused on football only. And he knows that his job is in jeopardy. Because the Cowboys have not done anything. Dak Prescott's window is running down as well. They signed him to a big extension. I think it was last year, the year before. They want him. They love Dak, and they want to win ball games there. They want to win another Super Bowl. They want to win a playoff game, but they just haven't got the ball rolling. Ezekiel Elliott's been on the decline as well. But again, this all falls back under Mike McCarthy. Just something that's not right within that coaching tree there in Dallas, and it's got to be fixed. Otherwise, they won't. You're not going to win ball games. Guys have to step up. Ezekiel Elliott's got to step up. He's got to play better. It doesn't help that you lose your Amari Cooper, one of your best, one of the best receivers in the league. As far as just the route running and great in the good hands, all that. But again, it's the NFL. Got next man up. CeeDee Lamb is a very dynamic player. He's going to step up, and they just have to make sure that Prescott, he's got to step up as well. He's got to, again, take command of this offense and lead them to wins. And because, and he's going to need his running back to help him off that as well in the pass game and the run game. The offensive line's got to hold up in pass protection, and be able to deliver on the run blocking. And you lose Tyron Smith for a good portion of the year, so if not the whole season. So that's going to only hurt the Cowboys. But I expect Mike McCarthy to be on the coaching hot seat this year simply because of that fact. Other than that, the only realistic option I could see as far as another coach being on the hot seat could be Pete Carroll with the Seahawks. The Seahawks haven't been, even with Russell Wilson the past couple of years, have not been the Seahawks of old. Despite losing some of those players from that Legion of Boom team, Marshawn Lynch, of course, all that good stuff, but still having Russell Wilson, that the team just was not able to compete and be consistent throughout the year and win ball games in the playoffs. Or make it to the playoffs, and Pete Carroll here is kind of on his last leg, so to speak, with coaching in the league anyway. But if he wanted to continue, and he had a bad year this year, he could be on the move as well. So a lot of storylines to follow this season. It's going to be one of the biggest seasons yet. All the announcers moving around, changing, from platform to platform. Got all the quarterbacks moving around, the wide receivers. How are these new quarterbacks going to fare? Is Matt Ryan going to do good with the Colts? Russell Wilson with the Broncos. It's a lot of storylines to follow here. What teams are going to step up, and make the change from go from worst to best, worst to first. So it'll be interesting to watch out for over the next couple of weeks. As we start the season off with Buffalo and LA. In LA on September the 8th. That's Thursday Night Football. Amazon will have that game. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman will be on the call for that game. So it'd be interesting to see that. Chris Al Michaels will be on the call for that game. But interestingly enough, we're close to the season, only a week out, a little less than a week out. So I'm happy. I'm ready to go, and it's football time. So make sure you guys, again, thank you for tuning into the podcast today. Check us out here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We're also on YouTube. Check us out, subscribe. We're there. Just providing your daily football content. We'll be monitoring over the next couple of weeks, so we get closer to the season. I did want to mention this before we go off the air. Please, everybody, say a prayer for Brian Robinson and his family as he suffered a horrible accident the other day. He was shot multiple times, was in a stable condition in the hospital, so that's good. But he obviously won't be seeing the field for much long. But, of course, football is secondary at this moment. So we'll be keeping you updated on what's going on with that. But he is in stable condition. He's okay. Was a victim of what we are being told as a robbery. Attempted robbery. He got shot multiple times. So again, wishing prayers out to Brian Robinson and his family going through this process right now. But this has been Jay's Fit Down Football Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.